is there such a thing as a tantric relationship? Is there such a thing as a relationship?
Such a thing as tantric relationship. Let's skip this one for now. Just relationship. What it is we define by relationship. A lot of trouble. No? A lot of trouble, a lot of compromise, a lot of conquering each other's territory, basically. And if you conquer each other's territory to try to mold the other in the frame you would like the other to be, you be sure you end up in a lot of conflict, because you try to take most of the time to take away the freedom of the other. So how I see most of relationship is how you conquer the space of the other, as much energetically, mentally, emotionally, all these kind of levels. And for sure you have moments where the other is gonna rebel, because you can't touch the freedom of one another. I don't know, we have an inbuilt system that whenever you see your freedom is going to invade it or taken away, something inside that start to protest. So most relationship, you have this kind of dynamic. And you have from there, maybe then you start to compromise, you give this little space away, and this one, and this one. And you can stretch it for quite some time, but see, you have always a moment of explosion. And this little explosion, they can be momentary, once a week, once a month. For some people, it's every day. That become like kind of even stressful situation on the whole system. So many relationship, it's a very stressful situation, which some people, they say, become toxic. You can just say it's not very healthy. They start attacking you, even body-wise. So a relationship based on this kind of conquering the territory of each other, how we uplift that. And there you can say, okay, then you go in the dimension of tantric relationship, which I think is quite a joke, because on level of tantra, I don't think there is any relationship. It doesn't exist. So we're going to try to refine what I mean there. We start to move in relating. A relationship, because you conquer, I mean also you get attached, and you possess each other. You are in a constant dynamic of attachment, a hook energy on each other, and you attach like that. Relating, you don't have that principle. You have a move of sharing. An energy goes there, and then and you share. You share energy is very fluid, and you can't afford this system that hook, that attach, or that you can also say that suck energy on each other. Sometimes religion is just vampire. Even I could say it's just raping the energy of each other. Is maybe intense word, but for many it's like that. So if we apply so-called tantric relationship, let's say on this path of tantra, you go with one another without the relationship, just relating. Like I just share about how you move energy with each other. So here you don't have this vampire energy, and you don't have this dimension of need. So meaning, what we look two person, a man, woman, two women, two men, whatever, doesn't matter, that has capacity to also fall on themselves. that take responsibility for everything that's happening in this system. Take responsibility for your emotion, your state of mind, your state of body, and you don't go out to find somebody filling up whatever is so-called missing, or I would say whatever is uncomfortable. I'm in a certain state of mind that I feel uncomfortable. I'm going to look outside in my partner to suit this instead of sitting back, looking, taking responsibility already to watch it, to understand it. And still there, I can go to my partner, share about it. It's fine, beautiful. But you don't have this system of looking the other to fix you, which you constantly have in relationship. It's a fix. I get a man, I get a woman to fix myself.
Well, until we are fully evolved, we still have all our, issues and challenges. And what about saying that it's not wanting to fix or suck the energy, but to get support? What is the difference in supporting each other in growth and the neediness aspect?
Then you end up in relating. A relationship, you will always have the fix. So I like to make a clear distinction. Relationship, it's always a fix, it's always invading territory of each other. It's always trying to mold, manipulate the other to fix your stuff, to get what you need, all this kind of thing. Then shifting and relating. Relating doesn't mean that you are enlightened and no, you're still in your mess. You take responsibility for the mess, and you take responsibility how you communicate all this. And the communication is not just verbal communication in your action, in all your moves. You're not vomiting when it's just so it's really harsh. But sometimes vivid picture helps to understand. So you have two persons that are not perfect. And anyway, the way to get perfect, I'm not sure about this one, but that have their story, that have their weaknesses, that have their side not easy to deal with. Can we get together and relate properly with that? Properly, maybe also not easy one to understand, maybe a little bit more consciously, less childish. So it asks a two person that have already ability to step back. And this one thing, I would say the first thing you start building up on the path of Tantra. Step back inside. Look what's inside your inner house. Look at your madness. Relationship is two mad people getting mad with each other.
Doesn't sound very promising.
It is look around, is what is happening everywhere. A mad house with mad people relating in madness. And it is fine to step back inside, look your inner madness joyfully. You can also have a good laugh and start putting the house a little bit in order.
So let's say a couple of young people that are starting a relationship and they have issues. So what is the first step they can do? How do they start with that?
Okay, we have a man and a woman, young or well, not young, it doesn't matter. They want to come together. We could look why they want to come together, but let's not go there now. Let's look in moving together. They also need to move alone. I think the healthy way, it's a same dynamic of together and alone. Together, alone. Not that you have to make a timing every day. Oh, I'm 1 hour here. But you need to find balance, to have the time to get a little bit, recollect your whole energy back inside. When you're together, you so engage a lot with the other. It has its beauty and it has its trouble. And this trouble is that you lose yourself completely. And we would like a moment where can I sit back, close my eyes, and go inside? Can I feel back me here, my body alone, my energy alone, my space, if it's to say, cool down everything, cool down the whole excitement, watch what is inside, and get to know your energy. Is here the trouble? The trouble into people, they engage energy with each other without knowing their energy. I mean, it's quite hilarious when you think about it. So you engage a lot of energy, especially a young couple. Speaking young couple means a lot of sex, huh? Let's be honest. I mean, and not at all knowing what's the energy about, how it moves. You might say, oh, but that's the way to learn. True, on some level, but a lot needs to start alone. So in this dynamic with someone, get moment alone, get to feel your energy on your own and start understanding how it works. Even what is the flavor of that energy? What are your quality? Nobody rarely look at it. It's immediately absorbed over there and cultivating then a lot of dreams and a lot of projection, things like this. And at least from the point of view of the field of Tantra, you like first to get to understand your own system, even your body. And sure, you get to learn a lot in the dynamic with someone. It's very important. I'm not saying by that you should be first a monk somewhere alone for years before engaging with someone. Have a nice balance. Alone and together, alone and together. Very important.
You mentioned the word dreams, which is like another for expectations, and I guess that is messing up relationships quite a lot, the expectations we have, both positive and negative expectations in relationships. How to deal with that? How to come to a point of having no expectations? Is it even necessary to go there?
I think at first it's not so much to make a trouble about our expectation. Can we get the time, the honesty to look at them? This is why I mentioned get back this moment alone and start to investigate your house of madness. And track back. For me, it's about tracking back all kind of different energies that are moving inside, where some is stuck or whatever. But track back those expectations. To me, it's at first, don't try to, oh, I should not have expectation, I should not have judgment, I should not have projection. No, you are in that situation with all this. Fine. Get the courage to look at them sincerely and track back. I have an explanation that goes here. It touch here. It touch this field. It asks something in this field of energy. Fine. From here, track it back slowly. Track it back towards yourself. Track it back towards its source. It has a source somewhere that motivate this expectation, that motivate a projection. Peacefully track it back to understand in which house system you are in, to understand your structure. And from there, some of these different expectations, by tracking them back, most of them, they just crumble or dissolve or evaporate. But basically, if you track back all those kind of energy, most of the time you come back to one point, one main problem, or two maximum, maybe. Many people, they think they have thousands of problems to fix through the other. Most of the time, it's a lot of confusion, a lot of complexity for nothing. So if you track back all this, I say like sometimes it's like pulling back all the strings and links, you end up in one or two, max three problem, the real stuff inside. Then to me, the real work starts. Otherwise, before this, just entertaining yourself.
Is this one or two or three problems universal, or is it unique for each person?
Some, I would say, they kind of universal, and then you might have that are very personal, for sure.
And what would you say is one of the most universal problems?
But one that I see for many is the big, huge fear to be alive.
Alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I thought you would say alone.
It also goes with this one, but alive. People, they always come up, oh, I'm afraid to die. I always have to giggle a little bit because it's not true. It's a cover-up. A big cover-up of being afraid to be alive, to live here. That's the constant escape. Everywhere escaping, while thinking in those escape, in those entertainment, I'm alive, which is not true. How much people they afraid to get back here, even just here in this body, and then even deeper than this body, inside, really inside themselves. Most people is like this. Why are you afraid to get so in tune with life?
Why? Why are we afraid?
That I will not answer. This is the work of everybody to get through. Work, I don't like so much this one. I prefer to say the play, but for many, let's put it simple. It's your work to get back at the source of life. And sure, at the source of life, you're gonna tackle the other side of this. We don't want to see this duality. It's the strongest one. We can tackle many different aspects of duality, but this one, life, death, it is like inside, it's not acceptable. We don't accept this.
Is it the intensity that we don't accept? We can't
The intensity is maybe the intensity, but it's for many it's unfair. It's not fair to engage in life fully and then is all taken out. You know, this life you have so much investment, and then let's say you're my girlfriend. I invest, a whole life and love and wow, this is just amazing. And then, at the end, done, it's all taken out. So this is why people, they think it's more the fear of death, of losing everything at the end. So you might look like that at the first, but so then you don't engage fully in life because of the afraid of what comes at the end. So depending how you want to tackle the so-called problem, I put it, no, you're afraid to engage fully in life. If you would engage fully in life, you will not be afraid of the so-called end. You will know it's a joke. You will know, I don't die. So this is a fake problem, the so-called ending. And plus, it's just a problem of constantly engaging far in the future, so you're never present in life. It's an escape. The fear of death is an escape of being fully present here now in life. And if you in that presence of life fully, then you giggle inside, but no, this drama is a misunderstanding. And sure, this body will go, I mean, this is a fact. But if you go deep in the body, in the essence of the body, what made this body materialize, coming out of the force of the life energy, is it going to die, this life energy? If you go at the center of that, it's pretty clear. It doesn't exist, this death story. Film transmute, change form, all this, fine. And I understand that first it's maybe not easy to go back looking at that center, but it's what we would like to do on this path, not staying just on the surface, the drama of life, the misunderstanding, the projection we have, and to go one step back. Not just in the surface of everything, or not just on the waves of the ocean. Is there a bottom? No, like always seeing like, okay, let's step deeper inside. And to step deeper, you have to engage more. Meaning you have to be total and not just partial. You don't jump in the swimming pool, one foot in and the other foot on the shore, trying to. No, you will have to fully there. So that's the challenge of Tantra. Totality.
But in real life, it's kind of, it's so subtle and it's difficult to know, am I total, am I not? Like, for example, just take the same example of going in the pool. Mm-hmm. Okay, I am not with one leg on the side and one, I am swimming in the pool. Mm-hmm. But how do I know that I'm total? I'm present, I'm feeling my body. How can I be even more total? And that's a small example. If you take an even more complicated example, life, relationships, is like, because there can always be more totality. How can I know that I'm fully total?
I understand you're in little trouble. Sure, you might have stages and degrees, though to me totality is totality, but you are in a certain stage of maturity. A maturity of mind, maturity of body, of energy, of your whole package of what you are is a package that is growing, in, you can say, expanding, and in that expansion it gets more and more mature, meaning you also get more and more conscious. And sure, I can understand that how you refer and that, oh, maybe I'm swimming, I'm totally in swimming. Yes, there is another state, you're just floating. You see, so every time you reach a different stage and you say, oh, but before I was not really total. Huh?
Yeah.
But it's not true. You were total in swimming in every possible ways. And because of that totality in swimming, you shifted to another level, if it's to say, where suddenly you were like, oh, I don't have to swim. Mm-hmm. I can just float. You understand? And there too, you have again a totality. And this keeps on going and going. So it's just where you are, the situation of you, where you are, be full in it. And then other thing develops. Yeah? And watch yourself of, we are all very tricky. Huh? We never, so this one we have to develop some awareness. And it's not that you have to be constantly there watching yourself, ooh, I'm total, because that becomes just a major mind game. By and by you observe, and in this totality anyway, you start seeing the so-called byproduct of it, which is such aliveness coming up. a lot of things start growing that you see, wow, yes. But by stage, like I say, every level, I never like to say level, but also for simplifying. You pass through these different inner dimensions where your totality starts shifting into different inner places.
The closer you get to this totality, at least for me, is like there is a moment where there is fear coming, like you say, fear of being alive. So what would you say to do in that moment of fear? Just how to bypass, how to cross that line.
Say hello. Fear is you have to befriend fear. Fear is a good friend. There is a first different thing to define in these depths that you say of totality. Coming closer and closer, I will speak about closer and closer to the center inside. There is a phenomenon that starts happening. This what divide. What is this little ingredient inside us, this little entity that divide me, you? Okay, let's give it a name. Ego is easy to people to relate with this. So this little guy in between that is fighting to stay alive. This little guy, each time you're gonna come closer to a moment where you expand a little bit more, it's gonna freak out. It's gonna get afraid. A little moment where this sense of separation start to dissolve. It's less and less strong. More total with life. The more you have this phenomenon. This fear is very important to start to notice and to befriend and to understand, oh, here I might be actually getting very close to something super beautiful. So how you deal with that energy, do you go with this fear and you stop there, which is okay, sometimes is your limit, you cannot go more than that for now, then at least you also honest. For now, I cannot go more than that. And to still have willingness inside, oh, I can go deeper, I can dissolve a little bit more and a little bit more, I can melt down my structure so that more life comes in. Befriend this little fearful one. Get to understand how it functions. I have some little discussion, if it's to make it a person, for example, to understand this principle. What is this principle of energy? What is this action? Why it's there in this existence? For what? This is why I like to make it. It's like a little person, because it's more easy. Why don't you meet that person and understand its principle of energy? We never want to face truly those kind of energy. Is that there is fear, then we start trembling. We immediately run away, find something to get out of here. So this little fear coming up is coming closer, and immediately let's push away, go in it. Meet, like you meet a person, meet that principle of energy to fully understand it. We don't dare to go at the core of certain aspect of energy, even core of energy of emotions. We all constantly surface. And fear is intense. Fear is very, very intense. It reminds me a quote from my Tantra master many years ago. It's a good one to share. I got practice that was, I have to be admitted, it was terrifying. It was practice on fear. And the practice was very simple. Every night, I had to lock myself in a room completely dark, but the pin drop dark. There was no specific timing that I should say an hour or two, whatever. That's a completely free timing there. And it was enter the room, let's say on the door, and dress naked, and step like you step in a complete dark water. And in stepping, invite all the fears possible. So in the beginning, I remember I was playing a bit game with myself. Let's tackle some little fear, not too much, But even this was quite intense. By and by, when I got some little confidence, let's push some stuff that not easy. And I do remember some moment that a few steps, I would just go back to the door. This is too much. And not especially going out, but I feel secure that, okay, too much, I can open the door and I can be back in the light where, okay, I can be fine. And I repeat these few nights till I remember one night that the goal was to end up in the middle of the room. When in the middle of the room, you're in the middle of complete dark ocean of fears. And that you have to visualize coming from everywhere, from the back, from the side. So every night I would experiment first fear coming front, fear coming from side, fear up, down. And I remember the night where I did fear coming from the back. And that was the night where I could not cheat anymore. Where it was not just imagination, just playing around with ideas of fear. So when you play with ideas of fear, yeah, the mind freaks out. The mind is afraid or whatever, but you're not in the fear. When it came from the back, I had no control over it. It's like it came through the whole body. It took over the body system, the emotion, the mind, everything. I got completely paralyzed.
What happened? How did you come out? What did you see?
Oh, I could not even scream. It just paralyzed the whole system. You just completely invaded by fear. And you see, what was the most interesting? Okay, sure, everything freaked out. I would say freaked in because I could not express. You're so paralyzed. It was very interesting also to see here. Nothing took over the system. The only way was to relax. If you cannot run away, so it's just like or pass out. I really thought I gonna faint then, but no, not even. Or I gonna black out. No. So what happened? Then I take back, relax, be ready to die if necessary. And what happened is that at the center of all this, it was so calm. It was just so cozy, very cozy. And it was important to meet this paralyzing force. I know that we said that, okay, in fear you can have also this principle, it push you to then act, run, this thing. Now it was so far that there was no possibility to run. I could see the moment when it started coming from the back, I could just run to the door, and I felt, stay. So it paralyzed everything. But in this paralyze, what was important, that was this moment of calmness, super alertness, very awake. So paralyzed is sure, but at the same time an awareness that can pick up everything. So extreme alertness. And from there, it relaxes, then everything also relaxes, and a rush of energy that I could take action if there was a true real situation. I mean, there is nothing action to take. The only action I took is to just sit down and go in even deeper with that energy, and then it become very friendly, the fear. Then I was like, let's not change that energy, which everybody tend to do in those moments. You don't want this energy in your system. It's like, ooh, no, be friend. So you can also then recognize it coming by closer. That was for me the most important in that also situation, to see, oh, I can feel it coming now in my system. I can catch it coming up. Say, oh yes, I can recognize how it starts to take over the body, how it starts to take over the mind. I can see the action it has in the mind then. And if you can recognize it coming closer, you know how to relax with it, or you know how, okay, it might be time now to shift, to call forth another energy, but it is not against the fear, you understand? So it's important for me to see in those all aspects of energy and not be again, don't create a conflict with fear. It's no, it's not necessary. I'm not saying it's an easy energy to tackle, so I don't advise people throw yourself into it right away. Know your capacity from now, and once you have capacity, then okay, try to avoid those kind of energy if you have capacity to let it come closer. It's beautiful to get understanding of this, especially in relating, where it plays many times, and in just being in this life it plays.
You mentioned that one of the problems in relationships is trying to fix each other. And also when talking about yourself, this idea of I have to fix something inside me.
Okay.
And what is the difference between looking at it from I want to fix or I want to evolve, I want to grow? Where is the line between these two? Also in relationships, sometimes we don't like something in the other, and how can we support the growth without trying to fix?
Bit tricky. I mean, tricky that I can answer from a different level. I can fly high and say...
maybe both. Maybe where do we start and where do we end up?
So, the fixing. Is there a problem? Why do we view ourselves as a problem? Something to fix. Must be that inside we are aware there is another potential. So, let's see that we shift from fixing to actually actualizing the potential. That requires already that I have gone a bit more inside myself to feel this, to sense. So, I sense that there is so-called something to fix because I'm suffering, because I'm not happy, miserable, whatever. If I have this, it's because I feel there is another potential. So the whole energy that is involved into fixing, it goes towards the potential. You see, like this, you, to me, start doing the real work. Not going, I fix. I go, where is the potential? I go where I can grow, where I can expand. And this is going to crumble down this whole area of fixing. It just shifts you completely in another place. You less engage into the periphery. Fixing is on the level of personality most of the time. And you can go on redecorating your house, moving all the furniture, then you have fixed everything. Oh, it's more beautiful. It's still the same shit. Still the same. Yes, so-called more beautiful. oh, it's more comfortable, I move this sofa here and this table there. I fix my house. But nothing, you see, so this is when we want to change. Fixing is the principle at change. You can go on and you will have a momentary so-called fulfillment. Momentary, oh, that's better, all fine. There is a point where you get completely exhausted in this kind of games. So moving, maybe you have to play that game to finally realize that's not exactly the way. Why I started this? Why I became aware something needs to be fixed? What is this discomfort? Because there is constantly somewhere inside pushing potential of awareness, a potential of consciousness, a potential of love that is kicking in. Say, hello, come here, kicking in. That we don't listen. And we get lost in all kind of periphery game. Fixing personality. I fix my personality to adjust to my partner. So then I fix the relationship. Then it's all smooth for how long? And for also a moment where you can realize I just compromise. Okay, skip and this one. So you see, get back looking at a step deeper. The potential that wants to really grow, that wants to expand, instead of fixing the periphery, moving, what I call moving the furnitures from one room to another. It doesn't do anything. I mean, momentary little thing. No, you have a small house, take a bigger house. Entertain yourself. And this is maybe necessary. I don't want to condemn it. Maybe it is necessary to do this for some time till it's not satisfying, till it's tiring, till you realize I'm still suffering, I'm still miserable anyway. And then you shake a little with yourself and start finally moving zoom and get to find the real diamond.
To me, still feels that these two things are quite close, because you can say to go deep into feel your potential, and let's say is to peel off the layers that cover this potential. Is kind of, it's a fine line. It still sometimes can feel like fixing things. My possibility to go into that potential, to open that potential.
Yeah.
It's a very fine
still
difference.
In my mind game that this is.
So where is the difference? I would like a little bit more clarity in that.
You need to have a glimpse. You need to have a glimpse from somewhere that showed you for a moment, hey, oh, look how everything is connected. How everything, oh, is at peace. You need to have a glimpse. Everybody gets at some point. Might be you fall deeply in love. Might be even through an accident. Might be in any kind of situation. Doesn't matter. There is a glimpse that shows you the potential. There is a shock into the system that takes you out from the periphery to plump inside. Like bang. Like this. Even if it's a split second, you never forget this. You never forget this. And you might, from that glimpse, find all kind of things to get back that glimpse. Any kind of thing to feel at least a little bit of this moment. of a complete unity, complete at peace. Like you're gonna start looking for it in many different ways. But people, they find it even through drinking. Get completely drunk to find this through sex, through any kind of thing. You're gonna start looking for it. So you need the little glimpse, and hopefully more than one. Usually when you have few, then you start to understand that the periphery will not be satisfying. You start to see it was not happening in the periphery. Maybe the first glimpse you're not very aware. You don't really know where did this happen into my whole system, where actually it took place. By few, you start to realize that, oh, it's not happening in the surface. It's somewhere else. So you start to, again, the same principle, track back where meditation is the only resource in this story. You can try to do all kind of things. I just see you have no other possibility than meditation. And I'm not saying by that it should be tantric meditation. And no, I'm not promoting only to tantric meditation. You will get there. Meditation, whatever, from whatever tradition and path, it will get you out of this layer without fighting it, without changing it, without fixing it. Just go through slowly. Go through and in. It's a beautiful journey. It needs a little courage and a little maybe getting so fed up by all the games. So fed up, the surface. So realizing that here, it's nice, it's beautiful, it has its place. But it's not here I have the real fulfillment. It's waves of the oceans. They are beautiful. But you would like to go at the bottom, at the center, back at the source of this life.
I have had a few of these glimpses, let's say, of the vastness of the heart. And it lasts for some time, and then eventually you're still bound to come back to this reality and to the way of interacting that's usual. So to come back again to this, trying to fix it.
You have a glimpse in, and then move back on the surface. A glimpse at the bottom of the ocean and back on the waves. Accept might be for you navigate like that yourself for some time. Not fixing it. Try to understand what is the move. What is the move? And for now, not yet having capacity, resources to stay at the center, fine. There is a moment you like a sweet with yourself. This is where I am. This is my situation. And what about beautiful for some time, this move? So till there is a moment, there is enough gravity. The center is a center of gravity. And the pull is so strong, you can't leak out anymore. So, meaning you can be in that center of gravity. Doesn't mean suddenly you are finished with outside. Actually, you're going to start having finally fun, the real fun with outside, before there's a strange type of suffering fun. But anyhow, the pull is so strong that you can't just be lost in the periphery. You stay in the bottom and act out in the periphery beautifully. So forma is not like this. Not enough concentrated energy that can stay, in this gravity. So it goes out again. And there again, you suffer, you want to fix this, fix that. Understand the play and be Je could laugh, keep on. I always say, keep on singing, keep on dancing. Don't make a drama out of it, but especially don't make a problem out of it. So there is a moment in this dance to stop making a problem. It's not a problem. It's a beautiful life journey we go through. How come it's designed like that? Go out the periphery to go back at the center. Use it. Anytime you are at the periphery, use it to let things come in. And then it brings you back inside. It's fantastic. It's very beautiful. At some point, it's very beautiful. Anything that takes you far, far, far out, gone, lost, confused, use it. Let things enter. So in that confusion of the periphery, stay open. Stay open for life to come in. Yes. Might be not always easy, but still.
So how do we increase that capacity? That capacity of energy to stay inside ourselves and inside in this, if we go back to relationships, to relate in a more conscious way?
Meditation. I think, okay, I don't want to be dogmatic and say, I can only, let's say, I will speak very personal. Meditation. Sit, go inside. Meditation, there are, I don't know how many methods. Pick the one that click. Pick the ones that better even than a lover. Better that it's such a love affair. It gets so close to you. Meditation should feel like very intimate. It's like, I see even the meditation I don't even share it with others. It's so intimate, personal. I don't share my practice with nobody. Maybe it sounds stupid, huh? Maybe one day it will come out, but it's just for now. So pick a meditation. There are many. If it's on the path of Tantra, let's say, go check in the Vegan Birth Tantra. So many there. First, maybe explore many, and not just your face stuff at try. It's no trying. Go fully in it. Don't fool around with the practice anyway. If you fool around, you will go nowhere. So be total with the practice. Few times, go. There is one that will say, yes, or two. You don't need to have thousands of them. At the first, I feel it's very important. Many, go. It's very, very powerful. You never know the one that's going to hit you hard. Like, and practice. And it's always tricky, practice, discipline. I know people, it irritates these kind of things. It looks like it's hard work. This is why it is a love affair, because suddenly it gets very, very sweet. It calls you every day. Oh, like a lover calls you. Your meditation starts to call you. Let's meet 5 minutes, 10, an hour, whatever the timing. And maybe a few times a day, and you have this beautiful build up is inner discipline. And if people please don't like that word, find something else. Discipline is extremely loving, very extremely loving. It's very loving to have a relation like that with the practice.
I think when people think about meditation, that's normally not how they see it, that it's a love affair or that discipline is a loving thing.
Yeah, because they impose it to themselves. Anything you impose to yourself, you're going to have a conflict. I really see this trouble with discipline, with practice, because, again, people, they go into that to fix something. So they impose. They impose strict yoga. It's not a love affair. You need to approach meditation from a completely different level. If you wanted to go deep, can't be approached from that level of impose that level of conflict with yourself. It needs the understanding how beautiful to go back home. How beautiful. And how beautiful I go back home with one vehicle, which is a practice. It's a vehicle, we call it. Very important. You go back home in the airplane. Are you fighting with the airplane? With the pilot? With the... Are you... No. You relax. You sit back. You close your eyes. Here we go back home. There is even a buzz of the airplane. Inside the stem at some point there is a buzzing. And you don't fight the practice, you don't fight the airplane. So you have a vehicle, it's your practice. Enter, don't fight the vehicle or don't try to change many people there. Let's change a little bit the practice here and there, adjust it to my frame of mind and all my nonsense. No, you don't fool, this is why I say don't fool around with the practice. Don't manipulate the practice. Don't manipulate the vehicle. It is like this. You enter it and go. Make the journey with it. And how long is the journey? That we don't know. You have deep trust. You have deep trust in the vehicle, in the practice, and you go. And you go. And it's not just I go in myself. You go into life. You go into life. You go at the center of this, which goes, you go into consciousness, you go into the heart. I'm not even saying go to love, not go there. Go.
Could you give a practice for a couple to do to grow in their relationship?
The very first one is to listen.
No.
Listen. Listen is very interesting. And listen is not only listen words. To me, it's not just a matter of communication. But let's start already with this. Can you just listen? Listen without even replying anything. Just listen. And to deepen this, listen to the energy, listen to the move, listen. Meaning, basically, opening receptivity. Strangely enough, you have a man, a woman, women, two men, whatever gender story, a couple, coming together so-called to love each other. And interestingly enough, there is a wall. Interestingly enough, they're not so open to each other. So they're not so receptive. They don't really completely receive the other. So we would like to start opening this. And it's huge because we start tackling the defense system, the protection. And somewhere, if you really want to meet as a couple, you cannot have a protection system. This is why it takes also time to build up intimacy. What we call intimacy, at least I see, is that you don't have a defense mechanism. You don't have this. You can open completely your field of energy, everything, without this. You can then completely meet. And we're very vulnerable in those moments. And we need that vulnerability to fully meet, to fully share energy together. So we would like gradually to open this. It is a little nicely open at the start because you have this moment of falling in love, but then very quickly. So, first listen. Let's see if it's possible to listen without replying. I shared this one long time story about more than 25 years ago, something. I met a man. I was really falling very strongly in love. And interestingly enough, after 3 days, there was already some fights. It was a very bizarre relation. And there also, the first practice my Tantra master gave me was sit together, he closes his eyes, and you share whatever you feel like to share. So he was completely just in the listening, not even engaged in looking. Well, it freaked me out completely in the beginning because having so-called speaking to somebody that doesn't look in your eyes is a bit strange, but actually very interesting. And we built up this. Then I would close my eyes, he would speak, and I would just listen. And then very quickly you become aware of your mind having so many interpretation, judgment, and then you see that I don't listen actually. I don't really receive him or the other way around. And by we build it up, that we started with open eyes, again, same, and never in engaging in conversation, in replying, argumenting, fully listen. And I saw the impact, sure, the impact on communication extremely strong, but the impact everywhere, on the body, on the energy, what it takes to listen, how much the whole system has to listen, what it takes even in my belly, even in my sex. Is it open there? Do I really receive? So I looked from the door of listening. You see, we are with the senses. From that door, slowly entering inside and opening, and I received the full life of my partner without interpreting, condemning, or saying, oh, this is wrong, this is right, I don't like. So I don't fix the partner, I manipulate the partner, all this. You start chopping down this system. So maybe the first one, to start engaging in listening, so to open receptivity, full receptivity, not a partial one, and understanding what receptivity is about, what it takes actually to be receptive. From there, many other things might come up. There's a lot of different practices, but this one is very precious, very important.
We talked about how to be in a relationship, but when to know when to end the relationship.
Oh, you have to start it. Many people, they don't even start. No, we don't know, but let's be clear. You have people, they are even 30, 40 years together. They didn't start. They didn't start. I stay in my territory. This one stay in the territory. And the only thing they start is how they invade. There is a war. It sounds a bit tough to depict the whole picture in this way, but it's a reality, and what to do. So they have to start, and the start is exactly what I just mentioned: pull down the defense mechanism. From the defense mechanism, you have constant reaction, which is constant conflict. And if you think this is relationship, what I shared already from the beginning, if you're satisfied with that, then fine. Everybody's on journey steps. But if you want not to look into the depths, let's start relating. For that, you have to get aware of the defense mechanism. Why on earth you would like to protect yourself against the one you say so-called I love, we have trouble. Sorry for my logic, this is very bizarre. This is a complete contradiction. I love you, but I protect myself against you. I mean, it's a bit weird. So, I love you, and even if it's a bit with some condition, I love you, I want to explore this. I will need to observe and crumble down my defense mechanism. I will need to open up. I don't have something standing in between. I don't have a wall. And what I see in many, because of struggle and they can even start building up a higher wall. A little window here. That's it. So, let's start the relating. Let's start. I want to marry you. It's a big statement. It's not a small thing. I want to marry you, meaning I don't defend. I'm okay, you come close. I'm okay, we get to merge fully our energies together. I'm okay, we go at the bottom of the ocean, we go at the center of love. We're not just playing around, love is also a vehicle, like I was sharing. You enter it, you don't play around. I love you, but you don't do this. I love you, but you don't look at the women, at the men. Just me. Condition after condition after condition. So, protecting. What is there to protect? I love you. I put down all this mechanism. It's a mechanism. So first maybe get aware what's the mechanism about without fighting it, because otherwise you will not manage it. If it's a mechanism, there is a way to take it down.
Very often it comes from pain, from past painful experiences.
Yeah, for sure. From far, we can go far into you can go far anyway. It doesn't even matter. It comes from pain, it comes from this. We don't even care about that. We would like, can we meet this phenomenon, this mechanism? There is a mechanism. Can we understand the mechanism? Not why it has come into being. You can go on, and some they go far in their past life. I mean, it's like the fear. Do you want to meet and understand how it functions, how it acts, how you pick it up? So there is a mechanism. It has created a field. It can be like this. It can be tick like that. Doesn't matter how tick. But let's get to understand the mechanism, and let's see that here we would like to marry, get the relation is what I mean, and get to go deep in life together. We have to look this mechanism. That I don't need this with you. It's not needed, and that takes might take time. That takes quite some energy and sincerity, responsibility. I take responsibility to look at this thing, and each time it gets into the play, to look. Oh wow, interesting. Why suddenly now I defend? Why suddenly I protect? Okay, my partner is saying some weird thing that I feel I protect, or he's doing something that I feel not okay. So let's start the relating by listening, being receptive, and getting aware of this mechanism without fighting it, just at least to understand. And to see that if I'm really truly engaged, I want to enter the vehicle of love with a person. It's a massive commitment. It's not a romance. It's not a romance at all. It's a deep journey. I have to look this whole dimension. I'll get receptive, open this thing together. Open responsibility and open looking at these mechanisms. the mechanism of fear, the mechanism of protection, defending, all this. Again, I repeat it a bit, maybe too much, without fighting it, without changing it, is a big trouble. We want to change all the energies. It's a big mistake. We don't change them. We read them and understand them. Then you know how to channel them. If you change them, we mess. The big mess.
So the first step is to meet, and then I guess in some couples it's easier to meet and some is more difficult to meet. And then they say if they were trying and still there's a lot of suffering, I come back to my question anyway, is there a moment when it's better to separate? And what defines that moment that it's better to leave this relationship?
You have many options, I would say, more or less. Depending where you are, at which kind of depth you are in the relation. Many depth. How far you have gone into the fight. How far you have gone into the protection. How far you have gone in invading the territory of the other. If you have built a relation this way, there is a moment you see there is, it's so everything narrow, it's so everything squeezed, you so suffocating, you can't breathe anymore, you can't move, the whole thing has been shrinking so much. Then you understand there's no way to go anymore. It gets quite clear. There we still have a trouble, which is actually a big trouble. You have a phenomenon of addiction. How bizarre, we get addicted to suffering. A phenomenon of addiction, because in all this squeezing, this fight, you still gain something. I invade this territory. I gain few things. Though I suffer, but still I gain few things. I fight like crazy, I argue like whatever. There is in this move, you do gain a little thing, and you get addicted to this little thing. You even get some different chemical rush into your body that somewhere feels good, makes you feel alive, so cool. So you have a whole phenomenon also start happening like that. You have hooked energy together that get very strongly attached. You become partner in fight. That's what's a strange relationship, but okay, you become partner like this. So you wake up maybe one morning and say, okay, wow, you're exhausted. You run out of energy, maybe you completely kaput, or you get a heart attack, or I don't know what happened, but you wake up and this is enough. Or you suddenly meet somebody that you realize, oh man, there is a garden here instead of a battlefield, because this is what happened. You have made a battlefield of a beautiful garden, of a possible garden. There was a garden, the one you say I'm in love with at the start, and you started invading and pick all the flowers and crush it all down and make a desert, like it's smash down everything. Okay, and yourself also become like that. So you kaput together. And mostly then is a very hard separation. You can see people and they separate with such a bitterness. And it's understandable because you are so devastated. You are so crushed. It's very difficult to go to your partner offering some flowers. Thank you, bye-bye. And you just run away and say bad words. It's sad, very sad. It takes a lot of time to restore your garden, to trust again. you are very damaged most of the time. Very, very damaged. Also energetically, it asks so much. So this is for many the way they end up. So you have at the level of relating where you didn't go like this, but when you realize that we have completed the journey together, this is so far where we can go together. This is so far what we can give to each other. So far what we can learn from each other. And then there is a lot of gratitude. And then it's quite clear, actually. It's quite clear there. That's it. So mostly the relation shift to a very beautiful friendship, for example. So you still meet, or maybe not, but still there is not this bitterness, and you are not broken. You come out of such a relation as more flowers in your garden. You have grown flowers together. In more deep in the field of Tantra, we say we have grown flowers like in sense of the chakras. I will not elaborate this one. Not now, it's a long story. Huh? But let's say in our energy fields, we have those different centers of energies. I personally like them to call them flowers because I feel our whole system of energy is a garden, and we have to see those flowers, water them, open them, get their fragrance. And in beautiful relation is what we do. We grow different flowers together. And what to do? With maybe a partner, you can grow all of them, completely possible, beautiful, your whole life together, maybe whatever. But some partner, no, you meet them for just one flower you're going to grow together. And it's very clear. Oh, done. And it cannot, there is not the potential to grow some more. Oh, beautiful. And mostly I see by some strange, beautiful circumstance, another partner is passing by, maybe not immediately, later on. It's very interesting, beautiful. You see, how flowing and natural everything comes. Mm-hmm. So now I put it very extreme, two types issue of relation, very extreme. They are also in between. But I feel it's nice to see it like this, to give some clarity how you navigate the moment of separation. One very painful, very extremely damaging, extremely broken in pieces, and one where actually you become a little bit more complete. Interesting. And some stuff in between, for sure. Mm-hmm.
It requires a lot of self-awareness.
For sure. Is it what we born here, no? For to grow in awareness, to wake up, not stay sleepy, because in that sleep we do a lot of disaster. Sleep, if you have a relation with two sleepwalkers, they do strange things in their dream. In their sleep, they do very, very strange things. And most, they damage a lot of things. Thank you.